All right, season 2, right? We open with basically Carl being a fucking cheapskate, not being afraid to call out his sister-in-law for, being kind of a mooch.
Is she a mooch though? Because her friggin' husband died tragically when she had a baby.
Yeah. I know. What a fucking bitch. Who does she think she is?
Carl treats her like where do you get off living in my house, breathing my dignified air?
I know. And he's already being super fucking kind and generous by letting that old hag of a mother of his fucking live there. You know what I mean? He's a noble fucking king. He really is a generous king. He's a generous king. And, he just keeps attracting these fucking barnacles like his sister-in-law and his mother onto the hall of his
Steve. And then Steve comes into the picture.
I know, yeah, because you know what? He just is such a fucking good king that everyone wants to join his kingdom, but there's not room for all of them. So if anyone's got to go, listen, if anyone's going to go, it's the fucking attractive young sister of his wife, because he doesn't give a fuck about attractive women. That doesn't call his name.
We know that to be true. We know what Carl is really about, as we're going to discuss in a moment. What Carl really gets up to. We've discussed it on episode 1, but so Rachel. So it opens up with Rachel just magically finding a way to get her. Oh, wait a minute, we're missing a whole thing. So Laura gets a job working at Leroy's, which we've seen in episode 1, but they've changed the set around.
Yes, a little bit. Yeah, in season 1, we have Leroy's, which is the scene of Urkel just getting the shit fucking yo, Urkel, give me your money. And then Eddie comes and stands up for him. It's a place that...
Paramount Eddie episode where he stands up for his friend, but it's the kids' hangout in Chicago.
Yeah. You know what it is? I feel like every fucking show at that time needed a all right, Saved by the Bell had the Max.
Right. There's Monk's Diner.
There was wait, where?
Central Perk, Monk's Diner.
Perk. In Boy Meets World, it was I think Chubby's.
Oh yeah, Chubby's. Wow, I haven't thought about that.
And then my favorite one was in the town of Bluffington, there was the Honker Burger.
Honker Burger.
Woo! Honker Burger. Our friend Louie used to be like, we need to find the Honker Burger. When we were bored and there's nowhere to go, it's where we need to go to the place where everyone we know is going to be hanging out and
is that though?
Picking each other up. Dude, where is the Honker Burger right now?
It's but that's so sad because it's it doesn't really exist. You're looking for an El Dorado that's not. You're looking for the Black Lodge of fast food places.
Well, it used to be out. It used to be behind 7-Eleven, right? That was kind of the Honker Burger. That's where we hung out while everyone else was at the.
I got to tell you, I have to send you a short film that Jack made that I starred in, and you're gonna laugh because of how skinny and gangly I look. But you're also gonna laugh or you're not gonna laugh, but you're gonna appreciate that it was filmed in that parking lot, and you're gonna just see it's gonna be like a time capsule.
With your fucking wristband, your sweat wristbands.
I still have them. I just don't have it up with me.
Actually,
Peter asks, hold on. Peter asks, "What city does Family Matters take place?" Peter, you don't know.
Hold on. Let me answer that question with a question. I was gonna say, what city did Jeff move to? Chef. Fuck.
I didn't know Peter back then though. That was Peter came later on.
All right, so Jeff, let me ask you a question.
Well, hold on. Fine. Ask me a question, but then we've got episodes to talk about.
Rolling. You're right, but listen, bro. The fucking Scarsdale Teen Center, Out of Bounds, the Scarsdale Teen Center.
That was our max.
There was a glimmer of time where that was the fucking Honker Burger. We would go there. The older kids were doing fucking b-boy contests. There was punk rock battle of the bands. There was pool tournaments. That shit. And that place, just the space itself, would have been perfect to cut those scenes of a sitcom in. It was really pretty remarkable. Not many places.
There was an Arkanoid machine. We used to play Arkanoid.
An Arkanoid machine. They had Twix for 50 cents. And the bottom line is this. like the fact that that existed in my adolescence almost makes me think that maybe I am in like the Truman Show or something, because like there's no real reason that place should have existed other than to get all the fucking cast of characters there, you know. But
it's truly remarkable. It was a remarkable place and a remarkable time. Which is kind of like what Rachel's place would become. So what happens is Leroy hires both Laura and Steve, because of course Steve has to work wherever Laura is.
Yeah, and then that's to her at the fucking hip.
Right. And then, you know, Steve is a clumsy motherfucker because well, we've been psychoanalyzing Steve over these last few weeks, and we've determined that he expresses rage through passive aggressive clumsiness. Peter says Out of Bounds wasn't set up when I went to Scarsdale. Yeah, Peter, you missed out, buddy. That was after your time. It was the bee's knees, the schniz tiz, the wazzle woozle.
The wazzle woozle.
Wait, but hold on. But Leroy. So Steve exhibits rage through passive aggressive clumsiness. And what does he do, Spice?
Oh, okay. So you're moving a little bit ahead with the episode. Yeah. So
why? What am I missing?
Well, no. When you say what does he do, I was like, fuck. Well, what clumsy thing did Steve do? Because there's a few. But yeah, so they get a job at Leroy's. Steve is there working, you know, fucking drooling over Laura, you know, the entire time. And he's not a bad server, or not as bad as maybe you'd expect him to be.
Yeah, but he handled the menus pretty well.
Yeah. He walked in that circle. Thank you. Yeah, it was kind of cute. And there's some other cute stuff like that he does. But so anyway, fucking he basically is told by his boss that because he like broke. Oh yeah, and so he breaks some dishes because he's trying to help Laura. And he trips.
Oh right.
Breaks a bunch of dishes, and Leroy is like, it's like, listen, here's your check, here's your bill. And so like Steve just worked all day, and now he busted his hump, and now he's got to pay money. So
what does he do to avoid paying the money?
He decides to burn this mother down, baby. He says
that fucker on fire.
He sets the fucker on fire and pretends like it was an accident. Oh, I didn't know. Did I do that? You know, fucking.
He pours water on a grease fire, and the whole place goes up. And of course, it was an accident.
Knowledge like him. With someone like as chemically knowledgeable as Steve, who we don't already know, but we come to find out can build a fucking thermonuclear device. Right. No, not to pour water on a grease fire.
It's what's even crazier is that, you know, Leroy doesn't press charges. He doesn't.
What does he do? He's just like, this place. I don't want it anymore. So, which brings us to our first big scene, big budget scene. Suddenly, the show fucking. It was bizarre.
Explodes with production value.
Explodes because suddenly they're outside. The amount of like background actors and like fucking cars, like drivers, and like the quality of the film that they're using suddenly looks like a fucking dramatic production. And like Harriette is like,
yeah, there's a shot of her feet running. You see her feet running.
And she's running down the street in this like dramatic scene because there's a fire and her daughter was working there.
By the way, what are you drinking right now? It looks delicious. Is that
beer? I'd like to say it's delicious, but it tastes just like regular sparkling water.
I thought there was some sort of root beer. I got so excited. I'm actually drinking seltzer as well, but I'm drinking the good stuff, bubbly.
Yeah, Poland Spring is not really the fucking upper echelon.
Yeah,
I hear that. Same to me.
So
you get this big dramatic scene.
Also,
luckily Laura's all right. Thank God.
Oh my God. I don't know what I would have done if she wasn't okay.
Imagine what Steve would have done.
He would have been inconsolable.
It's a perfect choice of words. So yeah, so they're like, oh, this place is burned down. Let's fucking profit off of it. And like, like, I don't know, this whole fucking convoluted turn of events happens where Steve shows up with a fucking whiteboard.
With a business plan.
With a fucking business plan.
He burned down Leroy's, and he didn't get no charges got pressed against him.
Not only that, you know, I don't think he just burned it down because he was upset about having to pay that money, but he's like, I could tie this into my master plan of winning over the fucking Winslow family by like burning this place down and like making sure that they end up with a fucking solution to Rachel's problem with, you know, like Steve. He's pulling all the strings, man. He's quite the puppet master.
He's a Machiavellian, dastardly, maniacal, like menace who figures this is his thought. This is his logic in this whole situation. He goes, okay, Leroy's burned to the ground. What can I do to make this situation better? Because Laura doesn't have a job. Well, I need to place a new figurehead in Leroy's. How about Rachel? I'll place Rachel in as the new figurehead. Rachel will rehire Laura and myself, and then we'll be back to everything. Will be
in like Flynn, baby.
Yeah, we in like Flynn. And what's crazy is they go to Carl and Harriette, and they're like, "We want you to invest. We want you to invest in a restaurant."
Yeah.
And apparently, it only costs $5,000 to invest in a restaurant in the 90s.
I think 5,000 is what they were short. Or I don't know what happened. What is it? Doesn't it come out that Carl like took all their nest egg savings and like blew it on bad stocks?
Yes, he did. And then of course Mama Winslow, she's like a Renaissance woman by this point. That's what, you know, I forgot about that part of her character is that she is you know, a widower who plays hockey and judo and just like
fucking hockey and like
Fletcher, you know, like you know, she's just taking a big bite out of life like it's a big juicy peach.
You know, I gotta tell you, I hate this fucking expression. I don't hate it, but like this expression I think is overused these days. She's living her best life, bro.
No, I've said that. Dude,
she epitomizes that expression. She's living fucking everyone's best life.
She's living the best life, and it's a beautiful thing, and I live vicariously through her. I'm so happy for her. And so so she goes, oh, that's no problem. Here, write yourself a check. Like, thing, you know?
Don't even worry about the fucking the amount. Write in whatever number you want.
Yeah, it's blank check in the Winslow household. And so Rachel's place comes about, and the first thing you notice on the exterior establishing shot is some really, really early 1992 CGI for the Rachel's Place sign.
Okay, so what I noticed about that sign was, I'm not sure if this is the correct term, but I don't know if it's aliasing.
You're talking about mouse teeth. Yes.
Mouse teeth. Is that when you have a line that's diagonal and as it moves, you get that
jaggedy?
It's jagged, and as her sign is swinging at the bottom, you have that's mouth. That's what we're talking about. It's called his mouth.
We call those mouse teeth.
Yeah, and it essentially it's like an aliasing thing, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's I've never said that word out loud before. I don't know if it's aliasing or.
Well, no, like like Alias, like the TV show.
Yeah, no, like, I get it.
Like,
but
what's your alias?
Yeah,
that's what it is. It's aliasing.
Aliasing. I'm gonna say aliasing. Yeah,
aliasing. I watch a lot of YouTube videos on because it happens in sampling for audio too, and so they have anti-aliasing stuff. And so I watch a lot of YouTube videos with nerdy people who are way smarter than me and who
that's good.
So they call it aliasing.
Okay. So in any case, getting back to Family Matters real quick. So Rachel gets her place. Everybody's happy. The place is a smashing success. You see kids dancing. Steve and Laura are back to work, and the status quo has been restored, which brings us to episode 2, Torn Between Two Lovers.
All right.
So this is an interesting episode. This is your classic misoverhearing information, or I should say, in a way, it's kind of contempt prior to investigation, because Steve
really, he shines in this episode. The way he acts when he's nervous. So the general idea is that Steve thinks that Rachel has a crush on him,
right?
And not only
set up.
Not only does she have a crush on him, right? But she like wants him to like come over and like fix her jukebox.
And there's another guy named Steve that she's into. So that's
why So when he thinks that she likes him, suddenly she, oh, can you bring this? Can you do this? He goes, okay. Okay. He like fucking.
He doesn't know how to process affection. That's what I thought about. It's like he's perceiving. Steve is perceiving affection from another woman, and he doesn't know how to process it, because to him, love and affection is go home, Steve. Love and affection to him is getting a door slammed in his face, as we will see in a later episode where he tries to make Laura jealous with a girlfriend. And when she starts treating him like garbage, Steve kind of gets off. He's kind of like a human toilet. He just like loves to be peed on, and just like, just likes it.
So listen, I got to tell you that you're kind of right about that. I mean, you're definitely right. All right. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong, but I will also tell you that I totally identify with.
Me too. Me too.
I mean, when a like fucking cute girl is interested in me, and I'm just, like fucking, I lose all smoothness.
Because it's an alien feeling. It's not a feeling you can't process it, because it's usually supposed to go like door slam in the face. It's not supposed to be like, wait, what?
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that was pretty great. And how does it end?
So he shows up with his fucking monkey suit, right? Fucking bow tie and everything.
Yeah.
With the tails, with the fucking.
You mean penguin suit? He's in a penguin suit.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. My dad always called a tuxedo a monkey suit.
Right.
But anyway, fucking. He shows up. Remind me what happens, because I don't really remember.
They just do. He's got a hat on, a fedora. He tries to woo her, and then he suddenly realizes that he's betraying Laura, and so he goes, "I can't do this, Rachel." And Rachel suddenly realizes that Finkel is Einhorn and Einhorn is Finkel, and goes, "Oh!" But instead of saying, "Steve, it's a misunderstanding," she lets Steve lets Steve think that she's terribly rejected. And she goes, "I don't know how I'll get by. I don't know. I guess I'll just let this go." Hey.
So, that episode. I think like you said, it's a fucking classic, right? As not the episode itself is classic, but it's like a very overdone kind of like classic sitcom plot. And it's the type of thing that wouldn't have worked without a fucking really strong character like Steve Urkel and a really, really strong performance by Jaleel White.
Right.
Because I don't really remember all the details of it. The thing that stands out, I remember the other guy's name was Steve.
Right.
I remember noticing that he was one of these, you have to have a date with me type. Like kind of a smooth talker. There's a fucking old cliche of like Rachel not wanting him to know how old she is, And he's like, "Oh, why would you think the age difference was a big deal? You can't be a day older than 30."
No, I think you're confusing episodes. That's an episode with Little Richie, and
nope.
Isn't that the episode with Little Richie where she's like afraid?
I'll tell you why. That's the whole thing, is that she's confiding in her sister. Oh, I don't know. Steve might be concerned about the age difference.
Right.
And so that's why Steve Urkel overhears the age difference thing and assumes that they're talking about him.
Right.
So this guy, Steve, he's 28 or something, and she's like 35. But he thinks she's only 30, and I'll let him believe that because that's what women are supposed to do in the 90s, anyway. But yeah, really strong performance by Jaleel White. An otherwise pretty forgettable episode.
Yeah, it's pretty forgettable. Let's move on. Next episode number 3 is Marriage 101. And this is where your classic sitcom setup where a school project we're going to have, which I never experienced in any grade, where you pair up with another student and have to take care of something. That was only something you saw on sitcoms. Maybe that was something that was from a bygone era. Maybe they did that in the 70s. I don't know.
Especially not one as fucking like racy as this. Like you're going to like act like a married couple and very weird.
Like, are they gonna bone? It's just, I don't know. It's just that there's so many things that come with being in a married couple, and I just feel like what class is that? Is that like home ec class? Like sociology class? Like what class is it that you?
Maybe home ec, maybe social studies, maybe But one thing that bothered me about this episode is they really leaned in hard to the Urkel is obsessed with Laura thing, which is like, okay, it's great. It's part of what makes the show run. But like, I thought they laid it on a little bit thick when he sits down at his desk and he fucking pulls out the picture of Laura.
Oh, that was such good shit.
I don't know, man. I thought it was like, I was like, this is like a little much.
Oh, well, it's going to get a lot worse as we go on.
Oh, I'm sure it is. But you know what I love? We're getting a lot of this. You bet, my pet, and no sweat, my pet. And like his fucking compliments for her. Man, if only I'd written some of them down.
Oh yeah, like my little leg of lamb.
Yeah, he's so fucking smooth, man.
Yeah,
and what a fucking romantic he is, dude.
He really is. And wait, and then what happens? They get the assignment. Hold on, I'm looking at it. Her mother.
She wants anyone but Steve. And yeah, like I thought it was like a silly idea that he's like, oh, you can't write Laura twice. Like, yeah, we get it. Steve really likes Laura. We get it. It's just, I don't know. They leaned in on it. Whatever. I like it.
Oh, now I remember. Okay, and then on the flip side is Carl. Is really inconsiderate towards Harriette, and it's like a situation where he's just clueless. Like she doesn't want to go to a hockey game. She doesn't want to do this. And the real truth is
a hockey game, bro.
Or play poker or go to a bachelor party. Because the real truth is Carl is just like, he's engaging in bacchanal pleasure with lots and lots of men, on the side. And it's like, he knows Harriet's not going to go to the hockey game so that he can go out to dinner with George. You know what I mean? Like that's just what it's all about. They do this dance, him and Harriette, going back and forth, where sometimes he's really honest with her about his appetites, and other times he's devious and goes behind her back with love betrayal.
So yeah, I think you're right about that, and I think it's just like sometimes Carl is just like without a thought as to why the way he's acting might fucking be offensive to other people, and he's just just gonna act like a total fucking jerk without even considering it. But that's men, right? That's men in the 90s, bro. They don't care. They're not smart. They don't know anything about women. They don't know anything about being sensitive. This is the 90s, bro. Men don't know anything.
By the
That's
way, I was totally wrong. This is 1990. I thought it was 1992. We're still in. So that Rachel's Place sign is CGI via 1990.
Yeah, well, the first season they say this is almost the 80s.
No, they say it's almost the 90s.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
So the next episode is Flash Pants, and this is okay. This is my episode. This is like such an iconic episode. It's an important episode. We got some stuff to unpack here. So Carl and Harriette enter a ballroom dancing competition for like the precinct, like because precincts in the 90s, policeman precincts had ballroom dancing competitions, and so
of course they did. Of course they did annual
ones. And so Carl and Harriette are like doing swing moves, and Carl really knows how to cut a rug. He's a really good dancer. They both are. And of course, he pulls his back out, and we get the whole. I mean, this is an episode I remember from my childhood with Carl hanging on the back of the closet door, and Steve has to like read him the encyclopedia. But here's what really brought me deeply interested into this episode was that he's upset about a rival at work, a rival police chief, police lieutenant, police commissioner who he's in competition with, and it's so important for him to beat this guy in the ballroom dancing competition.
Yes, he's very competitive, this guy has to win at everything, and you can tell Carl doesn't want to have a good time. Carl doesn't want to have fun. All he wants to do is beat the fucking pants off of this guy.
Well, here's where I disagree with you. It's not that Carl wants to eat the pants off the guy.
I didn't say eat the pants off of him, although he might want to do that too. But I said beat the pants off.
Oh. See, I think Carl was having an illustrious affair with this rival, and they broke up. And now they are. By the way, dude, I think I can't see you. You're all the way back. You're at least in the bottom. I can only see.
Yeah, you can see me here, right?
No, I can't.
How about now?
You got to choke up there a bit.
How about now?
Yeah, now it's better.
Yeah, his chair's got to go.
So he's like. They're jilted rivals is what they are. That's what
and there's definitely like a weird, awkward thing where he's like, my wife. And the other guy's like, oh, this is my wife. Like,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah, there's clearly like there's deep passion between Carl and this other guy, you know, and that's just kind of what I took
jealous with his wife. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, well, This is my wife. And it's like, well, you know, it's just this whole weird rivalry thing going on.
How does the episode end?
What is it? They both win? Or no, Carl wins, but hurts his back.
He hurts his ankle. The other guy hurts his ankle.
Yeah, and so they're fucking doing this bugged out dance in the end as a tiebreaker. And like somehow they both lose through like some weird simple twist of fate or like some weird rule. Like they both lose.
And then Richie does dances to MC Hammer. You can't touch this.
Yes, he does. And let's talk about Richie for a second because the kid they got to play Richie is fucking unbelievable. He's
great.
So cute.
So adorable.
There's this scene that it's like, so in the first episode of this season, he doesn't really have any talking lines. In the second episode, the first time he really has any sort of part to play, because I feel like the first episode of this season was really just like a plot device to like introduce, okay, Rachel now owns a restaurant. It's called Rachel's Place. Laura and Steve both work there, just to sort of set the stage for what's going on. So Richie didn't really have anything going on. You just sort of see him. But in the second episode, you know, Rachel's like, where's little Richie? Where's little Richie? I can't find him anywhere. And she's looking all over for him. And he's like behind the newspaper. And he's like sitting on Carl's lap or something or Harriette. And he goes, puts the newspaper down. He goes, here I am. And and he's like the cutest fucking kid in the world, and it's just like his acting is really not great, but I think for a kid that age, the fact that they could get him to like be still and quiet, or you know what I mean, or like disciplined enough to be like that, and that he was that cute was like all that mattered. But you know, when he says his lines, like the delivery is.
You can see him looking. You know, both him and Judy. You can see them like looking around. Their eyes wander when they're being shot, when they're doing a take.
Yeah.
You know?
But you know, and he really got rid of the need for Judy, right? Because you know, once Laura, you know, Laura's supposed to be paired with Judy, right?
Right.
Then Laura initially stood on her own as a really strong character, so she'd be paired with Eddie sometimes. She'd be, you know, being really like an effective dramatic actress with the quilt episode.
Right.
You know, she could hold her own, and you know, she had this entrepreneurial thing going on, which you know was. Judy was still allowed to sort of like tag along with all of that, but you know, them as a duo stopped really being a thing. And then once you get Urkel into the equation, Laura and Urkel is the fucking thing, right?
That's the secret sauce right there.
So then what do you do with Judy now, right?
Yeah, she's gone.
Yeah, well, and especially add a fucking another cute kid to the, you know.
Yep.
So with that whole thing with Urkel and going on, then essentially all you have is Judy to be the cute kid. But when you have fucking little Richie being like the cutest of kids, then you don't need any of that.
Right.
And there's a perfect fucking metaphor for this. You could tell it was like there's an episode later, which I thought was really good. Really good, but just really wacky. All right. But anyway, let's start at the end of this episode. At the end of this episode.
Wait, are you talking about the next episode?
I don't remember where it is. I just know it's the one.
Are you going out of order? All right, that's fine. Go ahead. Go out of order. Go. Listen.
Half of the house is being held up by a bed sheet. Okay. They have
Dude, that's actually the next episode. Perfect.
They have a fucking bed sheet to replace their wall. Okay, and we'll get into why. They have this giant bed sheet that they just use. And
where did they get that bed sheet?
And so Judy and Richie are sitting in the living room eating sandwiches or burgers or something, right?
Right.
And then Judy goes into the other room to get a phone call or something. So it's just Richie there by himself with the two burgers in front of him. A fucking dog walks on set.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The bed sheet, grabs the burger and runs away. And Richie has this look on his face like, oh, I better tell Judy this just happened. And then runs off camera to fucking kitchen to tell Judy. And then like Steve and Eddie like enter, and that's like where the meat happens. Like that's where the conversation
about their relationship for a minute.
Well, but I just the reason I brought that up is because it's like, dude, they had nothing for Judy to do. So like, let's just like put her in opening shot eating a cheeseburger and then go answer a phone call.
The writers was like, fuck, what are we going to do with this girl? How about let's have her eat a cheeseburger? Yeah. Great idea.
Yeah, let's have her eat it. And then a dog, you know, I mean, after all, dude, the fucking house is only...
It's too boring just with her eating the cheeseburger. Okay, how about if a dog comes in and takes it?
Yeah, and then Richie, and then that'll give Richie an excuse to run off camera so that like so that Urkel could come in.
Right.
Urkel with his fucking... with his fucking army, his fucking military school outfit.
Right, yeah, he's getting sent away. I mean, his parents, like, I feel really bad for him. You know, his parents just like they never wanted him in the first place. He was, you know, an accident of the highest order, you know, unfortunately.
What a fucking accident that was, man. What a happy accident.
Indeed. A happy accident.
Yeah. I mean, which is kind of metaphoric, or not, you know, it's like kind of an analogy for like Steve and Family Matters. Like, it's kind of meta that he was like an accident, but like a really happy accident.
Yeah. It's very true. So the car crash is basically goes like this. Eddie's getting his driver's license. He wants to take his girl out, Jolene, who's a fox, and
Yes, she is.
She's a fox. And so he fails his test. He crashes the car. Steve out of nowhere just jumps out and is like, "I did it." He gets sent away, and then Eddie finally does the right thing and takes responsibility for it. And then
a fucking played out. Oh, the kid who doesn't have his driver's license yet succumbs to peer pressure, drives without his license, and boy, does he regret it.
So
fucking played out. But you know what? Urkel comes in and saves the fucking day of this otherwise bland ass episode by giving a gift, by fucking bequeathing his fucking grandmother's dentures and his mother's like fucking fish jelly or some shit.
Like, he just thinks these things are so important, as important as they are to him, that they're going to be important to other people, and that like they need to, like, that Laura will remember him by his grandmother's fish jelly,
And like, she kind of is a champ.
She is.
She takes it up to the room. She's like, "I'll clean them." Like, and here's my retainer or something. Like,
yeah, yep.
So
it's very true.
He's romantic. His gestures are a little misguided.
Let's move on to the next episode to keep this train going. We have Boxcar Blues, which involves Carl is pressuring Eddie to become a cop. And I believe by the end of the series, he does become a cop. Yes. Following in the Grand Winslow tradition, Sam, his grandfather, was a cop, Carl was a cop, and now Eddie is a cop. And Eddie's like, "No, I'm going to be a model." And so he, the modeling agency, like, turns out to be closed. Steve goes on the ride along with Carl. They get into a wacky situation involving a boxcar, and which is funny, if you notice, there's a cow and then there's a lantern in the boxcar. This is how the Great Fire of Chicago started. The historical Great Fire that burned down most of the original Chicago began in a barn with a cow and a lantern. And it was kind of interesting because it takes place in Chicago. I wonder if that's what they were playing into that. And so, and it's just some great Carl and Steve shtick.
Yeah, the Carl and Steve thing is great. And also, like, these episodes that happen, like, I think the first one was the one with where Estelle fucking judo takedowns.
Carl, Ken
Forey, yeah. So, like, where we have these, like, it's like ever slightly so much a bit of danger introduced because Carl's a cop, so they have, at their disposal, like, this, like, you could always add this element of danger, and and it happens later in the season too, but it's like, Carl is like looking on this boxcar for a guy, for a perp, and
he's not yelling, like, "Steve, stay back!" Like, Steve is just like with him.
No. He does tell Steve to stay back. Steve's like, "Well, I have to pee." He had to pee, man. And so Steve jumps, and then the guy, and Steve's the only one who's like, "Hey, like, look at that backpack, like, look at that lantern,"
right? He figures it out. He figures it all out.
I mean, Carl's just too busy being upset that Steve's there to realize that, like, he didn't check the back, like, behind him, that this perp could still be there.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking.
Carl, good cop or bad cop? What do you think?
No, Carl's a great cop. There are many. As a matter of fact, he's an incredible cop because in the next episode, I can't wait to talk about the next episode. One of the finest. This is Steve's breakout episode, and this is an episode that shows. We already know that Carl's a good cop because in the episode with the buddy guy, the Buddy Ritchie whatever show, and Buddy Ritchie tries to take a swing at Carl. Yeah, and he tries to take a swing at Carl, and Carl handles the situation great.
That's because he's got integrity, which for a cop, All right. Listen.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
If only every cop was Carl Winslow currently,
oh,
right?
Man. Oh man.
We'd be okay.
But let me say one thing. Okay, so Carl, that shows that he has integrity, what he does with Buddy Goodrich. Right. However, is he a good cop in the sense of, like, is he a smart cop? You know what I mean? Like, if he's like after, like, is he good at policing? Or, you know, because with the Buddy Goodrich one, it showed that he's not afraid to arrest someone when arresting someone might not be the popular thing to do. You know, he's not afraid to be honest and upstanding and being a man of integrity because that's what his beliefs are. But, like, is he a good cop? Like, does he know to, like, look out behind him when there's a fucking, you know what I mean? Like, maybe he's kind of a dunderhead. He might be a bit of a dunderhead.
Well, all I know is I think in the next episode we learn the truth, which is called a Dog Day Halloween, I guess, which is a play on Dog Day Afternoon. And it's our first Halloween episode. There was no Halloween episode last year. And I think this is the episode where Steve Urkel becomes a breakout superstar. Maybe there's some other watershed moment, but I think that's the one where Steve is just all out.
And Harriet's costume, when she comes down as the hunchback, I was pretty frightened, man. Harriette looked really fucking hot in the red dress at some point in the season. She really had it going on, man.
I don't know, man. I just don't. She doesn't do it for me, man. I'm sorry.
No, me neither.
I'm more of a Rachel guy.
Me too. But there's one scene in this show where she's all dressed up, I think, to go to the hockey game or something. And she's just in this red dress, and let me tell you.
And it makes me wonder if she's not being satisfied by Carl. Let's say that it's a one-sided open marriage, which would be totally unfair on her part. Like, if he's seeing dudes, she should be able to see dudes or ladies as well. However, I don't think she is. I think for her, her sex drive is lower. I don't know why. I just get that vibe from her. And I think she has an arsenal of sexual devices in her drawer that she uses
arsenal is the right word.
that she uses at her disposal. And that's what she's all about. Personal self-play. While Carl is, I think Carl is a sloppy power bottom that just really goes to town. He just goes to town and he has a good time. And I respect their marriage and like their quirks and the way that like they sort of just the intricacies of love and household in this modern 90s family, But yeah, so Dog Day Halloween. It's this breakout episode, and so
one that I remember very clearly from childhood.
Very clearly. Laura's dressed up as sorry, go ahead.
She was dressed up as was it Aretha Franklin?
No.
Tina Turner.
No. Oh yeah.
No,
yeah.
Was it fucking Patti LaBelle? Tina Turner.
I'm Tina Turner, which was a really funny gag that just kept going and going and going. And she's dressed like 80s comeback Tina Turner, and she looks great. And Steve is with her. Steve is like,
she does the dance where she
the dance. She's doing the Tina Turner shuffle dance.
Yeah.
And Steve is with her, and he's dressed like Super Steve Urkel, Superman, and they go to a bank.
Totally iconic. This episode, iconic. So clearly growing up.
Why are they at the bank? Why are they at the bank?
Well, she's at the bank to cash her paycheck so that she can buy candy for the house.
Right.
Why is Steve there with her?
Because he has to escort her wherever she goes, and she's gotten used to him. He's now like this annoying little mosquito that follows her around, but she's very accustomed to it.
It's like You ever play Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yeah.
And like, Tails is just always like behind him, like
right.
wherever. Like,
here's a better take for you. Ready? Okay. Laura, who I don't think, again, I say this delicately, she has not grown into her looks quite yet. She's still a bit young, but she's starting to clearly get attention from gentlemen callers from time to time. And Laura, being the bright, intelligent woman that she is not really. She has too much unwanted attention. And having Steve Urkel around kind of like repels the guys that she's not interested in, while but doesn't get in the way of the fellas that she is. Like, for instance, she asked that guy to the dance, and Steve has to box the dude for honor. You know
what? There's so much that we have to unpack with the next couple episodes, man.
Well, before we get there, let's finish this Halloween episode real quick.
Yeah,
so this is where Carl's a good cop. You tell me why.
Because he's got the most fucking badass undercover outfit and accent, which I'd like to share with you.
Please. So this guy that's like a Judd Nelson wannabe, dresses like Abraham Lincoln, who holds up the bank.
And he's all like, yeah, I'm a tough guy. You know, like, we use this.
Yeah, he's a real mook, that guy.
A real fucking mook.
He's a mook. And he thinks he's like going to get all of a sudden Carl is involved with hostage negotiations. Like, Carl can be involved with any level of being a cop, from writing a police ticket to like high-speed chases to like hostage negotiations. And so
it's like a total like numbnuts, and it's just like, Carl, you got this, right? You know, like
Lieutenant Murtaugh is his boss, who we'll see from time to time in future seasons. He starts to have a pretty sizable character role.
Yes.
And so Carl goes in as a pizza delivery guy, a Jamaican one, and he's just like, here, man, take this pizza, man. And like, he opens up the thing, and
I'm
like,
can you put my screen up?
Yeah, do it.
It's shared. I think you need to pull the trigger.
Oh yeah, sorry. So here is Carl. Oh, Carl's so great. You tell me that's not a great cop.
1650, man.
Yeah, and he's like, check the pies, and he opens it up, and then the snakes come out. And I love how the robber is like blindsided by these silly snakes. Like, he's like, oh, and like Carl's able to like get a hold of him and stuff. You know, it's like no big deal.
Yeah, and Steve has a really tender moment where he wishes that he could. First of all, like when he has a little dream sequence where he's the one who saves the day. And
it's awesome.
Not only is it awesome, but you could tell like he's got some moves. Like he had that choreography down. Fucking Jaleel White was a fucking star, dude.
He really was.
And it's a shame.
A lot of karate.
You have these people who are like really fucking talented, but they get so associated to a certain role that they don't ever act again. Now, I'm not saying he never acted again. I know he did quite a bit of voice acting, and I'm sure he's doing just fine. But I don't think his potential was ever like truly tapped, because the way he carried this fucking show,
and a great stage actor. I mean, screen actor.
Yeah, and like there's some scenes where, like the line or whatever. I mean, let me show you this other thing. Like, this is.
Oh yeah.
Like, look at that face. Carl catches him trying to go up and fucking be a peeping Tom on Laura in the shower.
Right.
Steve just looks at him. You almost got me there, big guy. I mean,
like it's no big deal. Like today, that would be like
look at his face. Such a problem. He was caught. He knows he was caught. Look at that fucking shit.
Yeah, but that would be such a problem today. Like,
Yeah. Speaking of problems today. Well, no, not really of problems today, but speaking of things that are kind of weird and kind of strange for this show, is there's a part where like Carl and Harriette are talking about one of Carl's former partners or something, or former coworkers, and that they're like, oh, he got reassigned, and they're like, oh, where to? And Carl goes, Hooker Patrol.
Does he say that?
Yeah, and then it comes out that like this guy met his wife like since he got his new assignment.
Right.
And it's like this show
funny.
that like doesn't even say the word sex. Suddenly it's okay to say hooker patrol. I was in fucking shock.
Yeah, but they're implying so much with this show, like with Carl and Harriet's marriage.
Yeah, there's no implication when you say hooker patrol. It was just
so that's Dog Day Halloween. And you know, I really love the tender, what did you call it? The moment of understanding, the
sweet music of understanding. And it's just
between Carl and Steve is so tender because he's like, I wish I could have protected Laura. And Carl's like, you did protect Laura by just making sure she was comfortable and you let it. And I even used your idea of the snakes to capture the bank robber.
Yeah. Sometimes doing nothing is the best move, man.
Yeah, man. The best action is non-action, and that's what Steve takes. And Carl is grateful because he could have gotten someone hurt with his passive-aggressive clumsiness. So, something to be said for that. The next one is a real doozy, by the way. Wait, where did you say you watched up to? You watched the Science Project. You watched. Did you watch the pool episode?
Hold on a second.
I think we're almost done here. Days gone by, it's the bigger love. See it?
Yeah. I think we.
Did you watch that or not?
No.
Okay. Shame. All right, that's okay. So we have Cousin Urkel, we have Dedicated to the One I Love, and we have the Science Project, and we have Requiem for an Urkel, right? Yeah. So first of all, there's Cousin Urkel, and this was, to me, first of all, this is a classic episode that I remember so well, and it basically Myrtle Urkel comes up from the South in an Urkel exchange program with Steve. Steve goes down south, and she comes up. And the episode plays so brilliantly at first because when you watch it as an adult, you're going, wait a minute, because it's Urkel in drag. It's Urkel literally.
She's not really nerdy the way Urkel is. She's more like this
different level
seductress, and it's like she's like, Eddie, the name rolls off my tongue like honey.
Yeah, every word out of Jaleel White's mouth is just like saturated in lust for Eddie Winslow.
Totally saturated. Exactly. And the thing is that it's just like one of these older women who right. Would one of these cougars that would hit on you, and you just
she's hot. She is hot and bothered. And
she's got just the right words to be fucking flirtatious as fuck.
Now, here's the theory. Here's the theory that I was posing to you, and it turned out I was terribly wrong. Unless actually I've determined that I could still be right. Here's my theory. My theory is that Steve never actually gets sent away. He just simply makes up that he has a female cousin and starts wearing his mother's dresses, and then pretends and then starts hitting on Eddie to try and throw the Winslow family off his trail for whatever reason. So in fact, there is no Myrtle Urkel. It's just Steve dressing up in drag to try and trick the Winslows.
He's such a fucking sicko, dude.
And he goes to such lengths for this lie that he just can't let go. And you know what's and
it might have been a lie, honestly.
Well, here's the thing. Two things. One,
that last scene could have been a fucking dream sequence of him talking to himself.
So I get my whole thing is debunked because the last scene shows Steve and Myrtle together in the same room. But as Spice just said, that could have just been a projection. And in fact, that was Steve had what Steve had done is he had split his personality into the masculine and the feminine allowing him to completely lose himself in the role of Myrtle in order to infiltrate the Winslow household when he was supposed to be away in the South. And we're treated to this twist reveal at the end where fucking, as it turns out, Steve is Myrtle, and he's having a conversation with the other half of his personality.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
I hope that's what I want it to be.
It's like Psycho, you know?
It's like Psycho, dude. It's so fucking crazy. And then it's like, here's the other question I have. Do the Winslows realize that it's Steve and are just playing along because they're so disturbed by what they're seeing, and they're just like, they don't even want to confront Steve and what he's doing? Or do they genuinely believe that that Steve is actually Myrtle Urkel?
It's difficult to say because, you know, I think Eddie is not that deep of a thinker, and all he knows is that it looks like Urkel, and he doesn't want to, like, you know. And what if he hooks up with Myrtle and he likes it, you know?
Maybe. I mean, listen, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just interesting. And then here's the other thing. When Steve somehow manages to split his own personality using some sort of psycho, like, mental, like, voodoo magic on himself, does he fall?
Which he does by the end of the fucking series.
What?
Which he actually does by the end of the series.
He does do that with science later on. So what's to say that
science
off screen he took some Urkel juice? You know what I'm saying? Like, he took some Urkel juice off screen, became Myrtle, and, like, developed deep sexual attraction to Eddie while transponding sexes.
You know, I think I don't know if transponding is the right word, because I'm not sure that's what that word is.
Yeah. I'm just being very delicate with my vernacular.
I think maybe transmogrify.
Yeah, something like that.
Transmogrification.
Right.
Pretty sure maybe it's just made up, but
so in episode 31, dedicated to the one I love, Harriette catches Carl in the middle of a moment with the new sexy neighbor. This is another episode that is classic from my childhood. What do you remember about this episode?
I don't remember it that well, but I love the musical Underwear.
Oh, yeah.
I love the fact that this hussy is just like, she knows that Carl's married. She met fucking Harriette first, and all she wants is she's a chubby chaser.
Yeah, but here's the funny thing. Again, to point out Carl's sexuality, Carl is not into it, and it has nothing to do with Harriette.
Yeah,
Carl is just like
he's just going over there and, like, fucking ruining her plumbing, basically.
Yeah, but he's not even doing it because when
I say ruining her plumbing, I mean that in a non-sexual way.
Right. But what's so funny is that, like, he's just obliviously, like, trying to be a good Samaritan neighbor, like, because he's just so not even picking up on what she's trying to do. You know,
he has no fucking perception of these things,
because
he's like, oh yeah, of course, Harriette would love to go to a hockey game. Oh,
right,
girl just wants to fucking, like,
because he's just not, you know, because he's just not into. He's just into, all he can think about is just getting a deep dicking. That's the truth. That's the truth, man. I'm sorry. It's just so blatantly obvious to me. So ultimately, and my favorite part is obviously Estelle Winslow just calling the neighbor Lorraine a hussy. She calls her a hussy, and it's really great.
She is a hussy. She's a floozy.
She's a floozy.
And she says, "What do you do? What do you do? You know, what do I do?" She goes, "You trust your husband."
Right. Yeah, you trust your husband. Does she know about Carl's sexual appetite?
Fuck yeah, dude.
You know, she's trying to, like, pave everything smooth. The next episode up is the science project, which is a landmark watershed episode.
Well, it's our first glimpse into Steve's basement, which becomes super important in later episodes. I love his setup All right, because it's got all the. I mean, this is pre LCD, right?
Yep.
So you have, and I just thought it was cool is like the stark contrast of like what a lab looks like today, whereas a lab today, there's all the touch screens and everything's being swiped,
Yep.
futuristic, right? Back then, it was fucking, CRT screens, and like
full circuit TV.
yeah, no, cathode ray tube, CRT.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's got the CRTs. He's got like all this like sciencey stuff. And a couple years before that, or a couple decades before that, it would have been the big computers with the tape reels. Like in war games and stuff. But it's just funny how technology has advanced. But he's got a fucking thermonuclear device that he's created, and he sets it off because he's Steve, and it's. Laura's using him and feels guilty about it, or doesn't feel guilty about it, but is told by his fucking beautiful aunt, by her beautiful aunt.
Yeah, but they're like, you should have known. You shouldn't have taken advantage of him, and now he's going to set off a nuclear bomb.
Yeah. And they're doing this dance and stuff like, oh,
right.
You're grounded until the end of the world in 5 minutes. And they dance at that's life.
Right, and then we see the programmed Steve, which is sort of like very telling of like the science stuff that's going to come later.
Well, what was interesting about that was who did that remind you of?
Max Headroom.
Max Headroom, exactly.
Yeah. I don't know if that was before or after Max Headroom, but it's Max Headroom.
After Max Headroom was in the 80s. Yeah, I was just watching a thing about how Max Headroom was very misunderstood, and people who thought he was annoying just didn't get the joke, which I don't know, that's for another show. But yeah, it was just the same thing with like the Back to the Future Part 2, like the they have like the video servers, and it's like Michael Jackson, and they glitch out.
Yes. So the final episode we're going to cover, and we're going to land this airplane right now. Final episode is Requiem for an Urkel, which is where Urkel sort of like, he becomes very chivalrous and fights this bully on behalf of Laura in Laura's honor, because he feels that she's been dishonored, and he has to box.
Yeah, he boxes him, and great physical comedy from Steve.
Great physical comedy.
He's doing the Urkel shuffle,
and also he's going. He's punching Carl in the face.
He's like jab.
Yeah,
and, Carl's a big boxer because he's a big tough guy, macho man, manly man. So he knows about the jab, the left cross, the right.
Right.
Come on, Carl. You never fought anyone. Or maybe you did. I don't know, Carl. Like, you don't like.
Probably not.
Oh, I got to get back to Myrtle Urkel for a second, because all this stuff is happening in like Eddie's bedroom and Laura's bedroom, and I'm gonna have to share this screen. Here, I'm gonna share. Why does that keep happening? There we go. Can you pull up the shared screen, please?
Yeah.
So all this stuff is happening. Things are going bump in the night and stuff. And they, Carl comes in, he's not prepared to be seen. He's wearing his pajamas. And
yeah, frisk me.
And policemen
you
better
love those.
lovers. It's just like he's got, and then,
oh my God, but let's go back to that. Policemen make better lovers. Take a look at that. I mean, it's just so like.
Harriette saw that shirt and was like, what are you trying to say, Carl? Do you think that was that? Well, yeah, that's interesting, because, it'd be one thing if Harriette is wearing that shirt.
Right.
Because, for Carl to be wearing that shirt is kind of like rubbing fucking Harriet's face in the mud. Like,
right.
Like, Carl, Harriette, you're an okay lover, but policemen make better lovers than you.
Yeah. And so that pretty much concludes where we're at for the. Go back to that one real quick. That was funny.
I love this shirt.
Go back to Eddie, but standing behind Carl. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Look at his face. It's pretty great. Yeah, because it was his prank.
Yeah. Yeah. He got Laura good.
Yeah,
that's right.
She got him back.
Weaponized Urkels against each other. I forgot about that.
That's the whole idea of that episode.
They weaponized them. And that was the lesson they learned. You can't weaponize an Urkel. That the lessons started to get so ridiculous. The lessons started to get so ridiculous by season 2.
That's an episode that was not like we talked about, like Eddie doesn't have his license, so he's going to drive. Played out.
Right.
Someone weaponizing the nerdy crush, and then having it come back to them twofold by that nerdy crush's Southern Belle fucking tranny cousin. Like that's never been done before. They were breaking new ground.
Never.
So I gotta say, man, here's some fucking sweet outfits, bro.
Oh yeah, this episode wouldn't be complete without you showcasing some of your favorite outfits.
And then dude, if anyone is watching knows where I can get that shirt and thinks I won't wear it,
yeah,
think again, bro.
Dude,
think again.
Like that's like the magical ice cream suit.
Like, listen, if I'm walking down the street, sunny day like today, right? Beautiful day, not too humid. It's the first Friday since quarantine ended. Everyone's out wearing their fucking weekend best. And you see me walking down the street wearing this shirt.
I'm going to probably pull over and take a picture.
I'm fucking laid at least twice, bro. Like, look at that fucking shirt. And it's got flowers to show that I'm sensitive too. I mean, like, because people, there's like this, I don't know, there's this sort of like throwback 90s fad that's been going on. It's been going on for kind of a while, I guess, at this point. It's maybe even passe at this point. But even when the 90s, revival.
Is, though.
Yeah, well, but like the 90s revival style is not accurate or true to life because no one's wearing shit like this.
Right.
People might be wearing the Charlotte Hornets starter stuff, or like, but like this is authentic, bro.
I mean, you could be really unique and passe all at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like perfect.
So I think we should stop.
Yeah. I think we've reached our stopping place. So,
and let me be honest. Let me be honest for a second. I really think that there's a lot more to unpack with these episodes. I feel responsible that we glossed over quite a bit of fucking material, and I feel like
there's so much for us to pour over. It's totally fine.
I feel ashamed that my heart wasn't 100% in it. I've gone back to work and I'm tired. And it's just like I'm like, wow, we got to cover fucking Myrtle, Urkel. We got to cover this atomic bomb. Like, there's so much.
No, but you know what? Listen, we'll touch on those when we do the back end of season 2. Those will come back up. Those things.
Yeah.
And you know what? We're going to do this next time we do this. We're going to do this earlier in the night. I think
absolutely that was a detriment. Also,
that was a detriment for sure.
I have a lot of notes that I haven't even looked at. Let me get rid of the screen share for a moment.
By the way, let me ask you a question. You said you're off. Are you off for a few days coming up?
Tuesday's my next day off.
Oh, I thought you had like a few days off in a row coming up.
No, it's been crazy.
Right, I know you've been working like a dog. It's been a hard day's night.
It's been a hard day's night, and one of our guys. That's good, man.
You're making that loot. That's good.
Yeah, I was making more sitting on my ass, but
Yeah.
But here's the thing, one of our guys decided that he hurt himself, and whether or not that's true is none of my business. But he's not going to be in until Wednesday, which leaves just me and one other guy in the department. And so it's right. It's really not enough. But we're doing what we can, and it is very exhausting. And so we will touch back on these episodes. Let me pull up my notes for a second.
Sure.
And just see, like,
you want to do a little housekeeping, little note.
No, yeah. So I have Max Headroom on there.
Right.
I think it was great that Janice, Eddie's fox of a girlfriend, said that he was cuter than the Fresh Prince, which just goes to show that fucking
that's
Will
another
Smith,
one on your list.
Will Smith, before he was Will Smith, was the bar where the bar is set of cuteness in 1990.
Yeah,
right?
but also that's another thing to add to your growing tally of things that Family Matters celebrates. That
You're right. Yeah, Fresh Prince is totally one of them, big time. I noticed there was quite a bit of Dan Quayle references.
I only noticed one.
It might have been one. I feel like there was two. And I got to tell you, as a kid, I had no idea who Dan Quayle was. I didn't realize
it was a name that came up a lot, but we didn't really know who he was.
Yeah, I had no idea who he was. It was the name that came up a lot because it was kind of like George Bush Jr. before George, oh, did you hear that Dan Quayle doesn't know how to spell potato?
Banana. No, banana.
Potato.
Oh, potato.
Yeah, because potatoes is ES, so he thought potato singular had an E at the end.
Yeah, but what's crazy now is that that's so trivial in today's world. How funny is that?
Dude, if we get into that can of worms,
no, we're not.
We'll be here all fucking night.
I've been naughty. I've been very politically naughty this episode. I'm sorry.
I almost went into the whole cop thing, man. One thing I love is when Steve decides to fess up to the car accident. At first, it was me. They're like, Steve, why'd you do that? He's like, because I'm bad. I'm bad to the bone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He walk. Yeah. Fucking brilliant comedy from fucking Jaleel White. He just takes on this persona of
he's starting to arch back. He's starting to lean back into Urkel. He's not walking straight up.
Yep. He's getting taller, man. They caught him just before puberty, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Which happened also with Stranger Things, which I know you didn't watch, but it's by the third season, they're grown, Laura's dream, car with the dreads, we covered. You know what I thought was really fucked up was in Steve's dream, when Steve is having the dream sequence, which, first of all, they didn't do one of these, ooh, and then we know it's a dream sequence. Only coming out of that did we know it was a dream sequence. So we're set up to think it's real life.
Yeah, I had forgotten how the episode went, and I'm going, wait a minute. I'm
like, wow, you fucking saved the day, bro. Yeah, but so in Steve's dream, he says to her, I think I should do something. And she's like, I don't know. It could be dangerous. And then she goes, go for it.
Yeah.
So even in Steve's dream, even in his fantasy, she wants him dead.
Because to him, that's love. He considers that to be love.
Yeah.
Remember the episode where he makes her jealous? I forget which one that was, where he has a girlfriend. As I said, she just treats him like shit. And he's just he loves it. He fucking loves it.
Oh, there's also something that I have written down that says, I guess I'm just cuter, where I think that's literally a line that Richie says in reference to Judy, which is so fucking telling and
throwing shade.
Yeah. Richie and Judy, the bed sheet, Steve in the shower with Laura in it, Steve in the fire, Rachel's place. We covered all the talking points.
Great. So listen, when we return,
we're going to talk we're going to talk about Fletcher.
Oh my God! Did we miss Fletcher?
I didn't. I don't know if I finished that episode.
Wait a minute. When does Fletcher come?
After the dream, after Laura's dream.
After the science project.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Fletcher is in Requiem for an Urkel. That's right. Oh boy, Fletcher. Oh my God. He's such a hunk, dude. He's just He's the best, man. I love Fletcher, and I think he gets replaced. The actor gets replaced a few times, but like she ends up marrying him.
She does, right? Okay.
She marries him, and they like move out.
I'm like, he doesn't look like I remember him looking.
No,
like,
it's different.
I'm like, has it just been that fucking long since I've seen it? And I just assumed it was this other guy.
Hunk, though. Fletcher's a hunk, and he goes in for some lip locking lips. That first date, he's out for blood, man. And
he is.
Estelle, she gives a little bit of the goodies, man, and they just go to town.
Yeah.
Yeah, she knows what she wants.
Yeah, she does. She's an old woman who knows what she wants. You know, like she's not here for a fucking long time. She's here for a good time.
Yeah, you know, that's what, you know, I really, and as I've said previously on episodes, like, I really respect her philosophy of life. Like, I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time.
I'm here for a good time. Absolutely.
And as you said, cliché-ly, I don't know if that's a word, cliché-ly. I'm just going to use it as a word. Actually, sounds like an Irish name. Cliché-ly.
Like a shillelagh.
Get over here.
Like a shillelagh.
Yeah, cliché-ly. Yeah, no, I just think that in a cliche sort of way, she really is living her best life, and I'm proud of her. I really am. So when we return, we are going to do we're going to dive into the back end of season 2, and we'll be on our way to season 3. And who knows what treats are waiting for us. I'm not going to look at the episode list. I just want to be surprised.
Are we going to be diving into Carl's back end?
Oh boy, wouldn't I like that?
Wouldn't he?
Wouldn't he really like that? So until next time, this has been Thank God It's Family Matters with Frumess and Spice. Awesome. Talk to you later.